you know, we're living in some interesting times, and we have messages being thrown in our faces nonstop. I believe a lot of the messages are intended to create a sense of fear and worry and anxiety, and to cause us to be confused and have all these different reactions. I feel like the point of a lot of this information is to create a reaction in us. I chose several years ago, when I really figured out what was going on in our world, and I did get a little terrified. I chose that I was not going to live in fear, and the way I did that was through my faith. Today I want to share a little bit about my faith with you, if you are a person of faith. Friends, we need to rise up and respond to what's going on and help others around us. If you're a person that does not have faith, or you're not sure, or you haven't gotten around to just thinking about it, or whatever, like maybe something I share here can offer something to you. So start a little bit with when I was a kid. We'll do some fast forwarding. I don't plan to spend forever on this, but first time I remember like thinking consciously about the fact that I believe that there was a God. When I was a kid, I was sitting in the grass in my yard with my legs crossed, Indian style, and I was looking at like bugs and ants and stuff crawling around in the grass. And I just remember thinking that, like, I just don't understand how all of this, everything on this planet can work together without the Creator. So there was that moment. Then there was a moment, one time we were on our way back from my mom's family's. It was like an hour from our house. It was late and dark, and I was tired, and I had a terrible headache. And I said a prayer that God would take it away. And in an instant, that terrible headache was gone. And that was my first experience with saying a prayer. Let's see if I can not run into things, right? Okay. Farmer Matt would probably appreciate if I don't run into things. So I said a prayer and it was gone. That was my first experience with saying a prayer, and it was instantly answered. I've had several more experiences like that since then. So let's fast forward a little bit to how I met my now husband. And I had been, so I was divorced, I had a daughter, and this is not going very well. Thanks for tolerating my not very good multitasking here. So, had a daughter, I'd gotten divorced, and I was wanting to adopt a child. I've been praying about it. I didn't really feel like I was getting any answers to those prayers, and I had looked at, so I knew if I did online dating, I was going to sign up for Farmers Only, because this is where I'm happy, right here, okay? So I knew if I did, but I've been on Farmers Only, and the people I knew on there, like, I was a teacher, and like parents of students I've had in class were on Farmers Only, and I was like, I am not doing that. I was 100% opposed to doing it. So basically I was getting ready to start going to foster care meetings to learn about the fostering process to hopefully be able to adopt a child so my daughter can have a sibling. And right before I was going to do that, out of the blue one day, this idea popped in my head that, like, maybe God wants me to have a normal family. And I just, like, signed up for online dating like I hadn't been previously, 100% opposed to all of this. I wrote up a profile that was like 10 pages long or something, because like I had no interest in dating. I had more important things to do. I was not really that interested in another relationship, and so I did this. I posted it, and I said this prayer. It makes me wonder if I need to be more direct with God more often. I was like, God, whatever you want it to happen with this online dating thing, just do it. Like, I wasn't expecting anything. That was not my intention. Like I said, I was thinking about trying to adopt a child. Long story short, the next morning I had a message from my now husband. The whole way through the process, It was very complicated. We didn't live near each other. It was super complicated, but like the whole way through the process, it was just like, I feel like God is telling me this is the way, this is what's supposed to be. So there's that. So a few years ago, life got really hard, and have you ever gotten to a point in life where you like feel like you can't go on, like your strength has run out? I got to that point, and at that moment, I kind of felt like I had like a mini mental breakdown, and maybe a medium-sized one. And at that moment, I feel like I finally dug into my faith, like seriously. I feel like I will call myself, I think I was a bad Christian for like 37 years of my life, okay? So I finally started to dive into my faith. Like I started reading the Bible regularly, and I wanted to know everything it said. I wanted to know it, I wanted to learn it, and I told myself, like, I don't know how I approached it previously, but I consciously decided this time I am believing every word of this book, because I have seen miracles happen. I forgot one I need to share with you from when I was in high school. I've seen miracles happen. I have heard there are so many amazing testimonies from people. If you want to find them, there are amazing movies based on these things. Like, miracles are real. And so anyway, I decided, like, I'm going to read this book and I'm going to believe every word of it, because if these miracles that I've seen happen in my life can happen, then this stuff can happen too, even though it sounds hard to believe, right? Okay. So, dove into my faith. That was a good start. That was a good start for life getting better. I've really been struggling with multitasking today. I feel like I'm not going, I don't know. Anyway, that's okay. It's going to be fine. So, that was a good start. I fast forward some, life was still hard, and one day I was yelling at God, what do you want me to do? And I felt like this was the period where I felt like I started to actually hear answers. And I think God allows us to go through hard things to bring us closer to Him, because like He doesn't want to settle for, He loves us so much, and He wants us to have a relationship with Him. And one of the things that hard times can do, remind us where we need to put our feet on solid ground in this world, because this world isn't going to provide it, right? So, okay, I started getting answers. So fast forward to like a few weeks ago, and I was having another one of those moments. It wasn't nearly as bad as the one several years ago, but I'm really struggling with where I'm at in this field right now. It got a lot harder for me to turn around here, so bear with me here for a minute. We're gonna go to our next section. Okay, so a few weeks ago, I'm like, what? I'm praying about this other thing, like, what am I supposed to do? And this is the second time that I felt like God told me to start talking in this world. The first time was with my card making videos, and start talking about life and my faith and whatever. That was like over a year ago, and now I feel like this is happening again. So I listened to this book. It's called If You Can Keep It. It's by Eric Metaxas. Excellent book about where we are at in our country, and remembering that we have something worth fighting for, and remembering who we are as a people, and that this country was founded by heroes, not terrible people with terrible ideas. It was founded by heroes, and it is worth fighting for. So I listened to this book. It reminded me how, I knew, but it reminded me how our country was founded. Such a strong belief in God. And while it wasn't written into our laws, it was through everything else. And I felt like while I was listening to this, God kind of lit a fire inside of me for speaking up and doing something. So that was scary, and I didn't really want to do it. And for several days, I was stressed out thinking about it, like feeling that this was what he wanted me to do, but like, I don't want to do that. People are going to think I'm nuts. It's scary. Everybody who speaks up gets yelled at. Like, I'm just not really that interested. Okay, so I decide, okay, fine, I will do this. Farmer Matt is not going to be, this is not my finest job. So I basically agree, like, okay, fine, I will do this. When it is time for me to start, give me the sign that it's time to go. Just like, I'm just gonna wait until then. So like 3 nights later, listening to my tunes on my phone, and what song comes over? New song by Ann Wilson. It's called Stand. I read the words of it to you in one of my videos several days back. It is amazing. It is about standing up, speaking truth, speaking life, speaking love, responding to hate with love, responding to all the things this world is throwing in our faces, and doing it with love and light and dignity. And I hadn't heard it before. It came over my phone, and I was like, this is my sign, isn't it? This is my sign. So then it was the next day. Once again, I'm praying about this other thing. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? And I felt like the answer was Stand, the song from Ann Wilson. And I'm like, yeah, is that going to help with this other thing that I'm upset about? And I felt like the answer was yes. So here I am. I'm doing this. And I do feel like the other thing is getting better. I don't know. We'll see. But I want to share with you I'm calling it a miracle that happened when I was in high school. I was in a bad car accident when I was a junior. And a lot of people seem to think that like maybe I probably should have died in this car accident. I was turning left, and there was a car coming at me. I pulled out in front of them. It was my fault. And they ran into the side of my car, of course, like the driver's side door, and pushed me into the telephone pole. So my car was like crushed between them and the telephone pole. So I got a helicopter out of the hospital. This whole time I think I'm dying, because like as soon as I heard that they were calling the helicopter, I was like, that's not good. That's not good at all. And I'm like scared that I'm dying. And this whole time I was praying the whole time, making false promises to God that if He saved my life, I was going to do like everything to live my life for Him. That was a total lie. And so concentration required. Long story short, I'm in the emergency room. I've been there a while. They just wanted someone to say if I was going to be okay or not. You know, they're not talking to me. They're doing their thing. They're doing their work. And long story short, I'm fine. I went home that night. I had a cut on my forehead. If you ever notice a scar on my forehead, that's what it is. It's from basically the glass, and the telephone pole was like right here when I was sitting in my car before they took me out of it. So went home, totally fine. And over the next few days, I start like remembering various parts of the whole thing, and I remembered there was a man standing beside me in the emergency room by my right side. He just stood here. I never looked at him. I didn't see his face. Didn't say anything for the longest time, but he just stood there comforting me, basically. was the way it felt. And after a long time, he said, they think you're going to be just fine. And he either said sweetie or honey. I can't remember. My memory stinks. But like, they think you're just going to be, they think you're going to be just fine, honey. I'm like, okay. So a few days later, I remember this. I'm like, they don't pay people to stand beside you and comfort you in the emergency room. Pretty sure my health insurance doesn't cover that part of the stay, right? Like, and to this day, I wonder, like, was it an angel? Or was it Jesus? I don't know. I kind of wish, like, I could have seen the face, or, like, maybe it was my grandpa that I never met, who died before I was born. Like, I had no idea who it was. But, pretty amazing. Amazing things happened. My husband fell right there in front of me from that tree. He was trimming a tree about 6 months ago from probably, like, 25 feet up. 25 feet up. That's a long way. I can fall, I can trip on the floor and hurt myself. He fell from 25 feet. He broke his arm right here. And he had 2 teeny scratches on his leg. And he was perfectly fine. Like, none of his organs were mushed. He didn't, like, have any broken ribs or back or, like, amazing. I've got more amazing stories than this from people around me. But, like, these things are real. Whether you want to believe them or not, but so in this world we're living in, whether you have faith or you still need to explore it, or I know we have people who are scarred by religion and scarred by people who claim to be religious, and we have lots of different stories and places we're starting at, but I encourage you, if you are looking for something solid to stand on in this world, amidst the turmoil and the chaos and the stuff, friends, I encourage you to say a little prayer and ask Jesus to come into your heart and say, if you're real, I need you to come and be with me and let me know that you're real. I want to have a relationship with you, but I need to know if this is real. Start reading your Bible, start praying. That's what I got for today, friends. I've got a bunch of resources on my website now. I'm trying to post, like, things to maybe help you wade through all that crazy information out there and try and figure out what you think truth is, and try and figure out what you think the most important issues right now are, because we must get out there and vote. We must not throw up our hands and say we don't care and this is ludicrous and I'm not participating in this madness. Like, that is the opposite of what we have to do right now. So I posted a bunch of stuff on my website, trying to get people to join me and pray 6:30 every evening, fast and pray on Fridays, come up with some kind of organized prayer on election day with people you know. I have some resources on my website. I have, like, images you can share on social media to get people to join in the prayer movement. There's some other stuff there too. Lots of, like, websites and news and sources that are, like, aren't as common that I feel like there's value to. So, handmakedwithlove.com/take-a-stand. Or if you go to my main website, there's a little link at the very top. So, that's what I got for today, friends. Be well, be strong, have faith. We can overcome this